Hello, my name is Adriana Hernandez, and I'll be presenting my original costume designs for the musical Rent by Jonathan Larson. This presentation is asterisk for substance abuse, frank talk of death, and prejudice, so if you feel that you may be offended, please click off the video now. Thank you, and I proudly represent, for the last time, District 8, Troop 7590. Rent, the musical, follows a group of young, starving artists who are struggling to survive and find a place in this world. We see throughout the story that multiple characters deal with different problems like drug addiction, the HIV and AIDS crisis, and having a taboo life of living in the urban city. My overall vision for my costume designs is having the characters' personalities and stories reflect through their clothing, and I'm keeping in mind of what they're feeling and what they're doing at that moment of the song. A lot of people say that their clothing is an extension of their personalities and even their own person, and I really want that to reflect in the costume designs because the characters in Rent have very distinct personalities and how they deal with the world in general, and I want that to come across in the clothing. We see a lot in culture that clothing really defines like how you feel that day or where you belong to, especially in many other different cultures. So I'm doing the same thing for my costume designs. In addition, I added an inspiration board because doing research on the early 90s was pretty easy and I wanted it to be visual to help me throughout the entire process of making my costumes. So I did a Pinterest board and I found photos from magazines from the early 90s or materials that would inspire me to do something with the designs. Anything that would inspire me throughout this entire process, I put it in the Pinterest board. For my first design, we have Angel. Angel during Today For You is dancing around on stage with her iconic opening to reveal her Mrs. Claus drag outfit. With it being December and almost a new year in the play, I made the design to resemble Santa Claus while adding my own twist to it. The top is sheer because it represents how Angel is super transparent with everyone that she meets and she isn't afraid to be herself around others. I made the design with materials that can easily stretch and that are super light so that the actor who's playing Angel can dance around freely in them. I also made the design light and flowy because while she's spinning and dancing around on stage, I want the fabric to lift up and make the actor appear bigger in presence, since Angel always makes her presence known when she walks into a room. I added the tutu at the bottom to give the design a more feminine appearance, giving the illusion that the actor has big hips. I also wanted different textures while still having the red and green color scheme, so I made the pants velvet. In the musical, it's mentioned that Angel likes to create her own clothing. That's why I made the outfit highly unique so it doesn't look like it's something that has been done before. In the design, I made little accessories like the pom pom hair clips, which looks like snowballs, and having a belt that's tight enough to hold her drumsticks in while she's drumming in her song. The final point that I will bring up is that Angel in the musical died around the time of Halloween, which was her favorite holiday. And that's why I made the outfit really over the top because I cannot imagine Angel not living life to the fullest. Here are some progress photos of the design itself, and throughout this presentation, I will be adding time lapses to give you guys a sense of what I do on Photoshop while designing costumes. For my next design, we have Maureen. Maureen, during her performance of Over the Moon, is seen singing about a cow jumping over the moon and stars. Maureen wants to be a performer and become famous. She always wants things her way while being in the spotlight. That's why I added sequins to the pants to make her shine. I did bell bottoms because even if they were not popular during the 90s, when she walks, I want the fabric to snap right in front of her to represent her dominant and snappy personality. The golden ring in the center of the top is to give homage to the cartoon cows we always see that wear the gold ring on their noses. So the cow print is on the top to give the look of the cow jumping over the moon and the stars of the pants, to be literal with the song. The lace underneath is supposed to represent how she can be soft and delicate on the inside, but is super vulnerable to show that side of her, so that's why it's covered with the performance in front of her. These are the progress photos of the design, and a time lapse of me working on her pants. The next design is Mimi. Mimi in Out Tonight shows her wild side to the audience and reveals more about her as a person. She just got out of her work in the song. In the musical, it's hinted that Mimi works at an adult entertainment establishment. That influenced my design to be more tight to the body and have bold colors. The jacket and shorts I did shimmer spandex fabric, so it gives the illusion of PVC leather from far away. The spandex also allows the actor to move freely without being restricted from actual leather. I added the trims of the loops and the studs to add a rebellious look to her, since her whole song is about how she doesn't care and wants to do things that she enjoys, even if the choices aren't the best for her well being. The red exterior is supposed to represent her facade of being lively and well, and the black underneath the red is supposed to represent her struggles of depression and drug abuse, and how she feels her whole life is in the dark and has no light shining through whatsoever. And since she is so young that she goes to the extremes of just being in the dark and not seeking any help. Here are some progress pictures for my design. And the time lapse of me doing the shoes and the shorts. For my next design, we have Mark. Mark in Halloween is singing about why everything happened the way it did and who is he in all of this. Mark in this song feels like he doesn't know who he is at all. In the musical, he films the events of an entire year and usually is seen as a person in the shadows. I gave him a design that was casual to give the sense of simplicity. I went for the fabric that has shapes and color but is dulled down by the black stitching to add the sense of darkness that he feels. I made the design in a way where if he walked past you by the street, you wouldn't bat an eye. He feels like he's just separate from the story that he is filming. He is one of the few that gets their act together though in the musical, for a short amount of time, which is another reason why I went simple in his design, to give him the sense of normalcy from the rest of the group. Here are the progress photos for Mark. And footage of me making the design for his sweater. For my final design, we have Roger. Roger in one song, Glory, is singing about how he wants to leave a mark on the world before he dies. Roger in the musical has a dark past, with his past girlfriend killing herself because they found out they got AIDS, and his past drug addiction, and how he doesn't want to pick up the things he used to enjoy. Roger is supposed to be into grunge, so I made the design with dark colors and edgy details like the ragged sweater and ripped jeans. The green black sweater is a fabric that falls apart easily and looks worn out, even if you haven't worn it. The fabric represents the past traumas of Roger and how his life is falling apart. The button up sweater, although, is lighter than the rest of the design because it represents the one hope he has, which is his music. He wants to find a purpose in his music to feel alive again. Even after all the deep, ugly colors that are inside him that are still there, he still has the hope that goes over everything else. Another thing that the sweater represents is how his past girlfriend brought life into his life and made his life way better. And he still keeps the sweater of her to keep that hope and love that he yearns for. Here are the progress pictures of the design. And here's some footage of me putting the print on the sweater. Thank you for listening to my presentation, and I hope you enjoyed.